All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're taking a deep tactical dive into a genuinely defining moment in military history, the events of August 7th, 1958. We're going to break down the life, the sheer tactical brilliance, and the final, ultimate sacrifice of Major Tufail Mohammad Shaheed. Now, this isn't just your standard story about a battle. No, it's an absolute masterclass in how to lead under literally impossible pressure. So I want you to look at the question here and really think about it. Seriously. How do you win an engagement when you are fundamentally outgunned and outnumbered? It's kind of the core strategic nightmare commanders have faced for, well, centuries. When the math is just totally against you, what's the play? Today, we're going to see exactly how Major Tufail answered that question and how his absolute commitment flipped the battlefield dynamics completely upside down. Section 1. The mission at Lakshmipur. To really grasp the tactics here, we first have to understand the objective. Foreign forces had illegally occupied a piece of territory, and Major Tufail was handed a highly dangerous directive: go take it back. Now notice how this operation actually unfolded. This wasn't some slow, prolonged multi-day siege, not at all. It was a rapid, high-stakes, highly concentrated strike. We're talking a stealthy, nighttime approach, rapidly transitioning into this ferocious mid-assault engagement, and culminating in a very personal, high-intensity final bunker clearing. The tactical reality on the ground shifted in a matter of minutes. Section 2. Weighing the strategic risks. Major Tufail wasn't walking blindly into this situation. He knew exactly how bad the odds were. Look at what he was up against. The occupying forces held a massive advantage. Superior numbers, heavy armaments, dug in, completely fortified. And Major Tufail's unit? Well, they had exactly two things going for them: the element of surprise and the cover of darkness. That was literally their entire leverage. When you weigh those two sides, the strategic risk of a frontal assault is astronomical. One mistake and his whole unit gets wiped out. Section 3. A daring tactical plan. Sheer bravery is absolutely essential. But bravery alone doesn't actually deflect bullets, right? Bridging that gap required a highly calculated maneuver. Step 1. Approach under the cover of darkness, a very deliberate tactical choice to strip the enemy of their visual advantage. Step 2. Draw fire and lead from the front. This brilliantly illustrates his entire leadership philosophy. By actually leading the charge, Major Tufail absorbed the initial shock himself to ensure the assault kept its momentum. And Step 3. A direct, localized assault on the enemy bunker to dismantle their command and control. Every single step here was engineered to turn a glaring weakness into an unstoppable kinetic force. Section 4. The frontline assault. But, as they say, no plan survives first contact entirely intact. As they closed in on the forward posts, the silence completely shattered. The unit was suddenly hit with a ferocious barrage of gunfire. They'd been spotted. In this initial, incredibly chaotic hail of bullets, Major Tufail took severe injuries. Now, tactically speaking, this is the textbook moment to fall back. The commander is down, the enemy has overwhelming firepower, and your only real leverage, the element of surprise, is completely gone. But here is the absolute crucial point, the moment everything pivots. Instead of retreating to nurse those severe wounds, Major Tufail does the unthinkable. His resolve remains completely unshaken. He flat out refuses to let his physical pain interfere with the mission. Right there, actively bleeding on the battlefield, he signals his men to press the assault forward. He used his own unwavering presence to anchor the unit's morale when it could have so easily broken. Section 5. Hand-to-hand combat. So the distance has been closed, and this firefight devolves into the most primal form of warfare imaginable. Major Tufail isn't just directing his men from the rear, pushing through immense physical agony. He engages in an intense, hand-to-hand struggle inside the bunker itself. Using sheer, raw physical strength to overcome the opposition, he personally neutralizes the threat and clears the position. It was this single act of close-quarters dominance that broke the enemy's line and just completely turned the tide of the entire engagement. Section 6. A lion-hearted legacy. Major Tufail Mohammad's sheer willpower carried the day, for sure, but it came at the highest possible cost, as he ultimately succumbed to his severe wounds. Yet the outcome of his actions? Undeniable. The illegally occupied territory was successfully reclaimed. The numerically superior enemy was fundamentally broken and forced into a full retreat. His ultimate sacrifice was not in vain. It decisively achieved the military objective, serving as a supreme example of duty and selflessness translating directly into tactical victory. Because of these incredible actions on August 7th, 1958, Major Tufail Mohammad Shaheed was awarded the Nishan-e-Haider. Now, for anyone who might not be familiar, this is Pakistan's absolute highest military decoration. It's an honor reserved strictly for the most supreme, extraordinary acts of bravery and selflessness. His actions that night elevated him to a symbol of the true, lion-hearted spirit that defines his nation's military history.
I really want to highlight this quote right here because it just perfectly encapsulates everything we've analyzed today. The limitations of weaponry and numbers become secondary to the power of human courage. This is exactly why this explainer matters. It proves that massive tactical disadvantages, like being outgunned or completely outnumbered, can actually be totally overwritten by a commander's absolute commitment and an unshaken resolve to lead from the very front.
So, I want to leave you with a final thought before we wrap up today. Look, you might not be facing an armed bunker anytime soon, but we all face situations where we are totally strategically outmatched by our circumstances. When the odds are stacked against you and the numbers look really bad, how can absolute commitment, a total refusal to retreat, and the courage to tackle the problem head-on help you overcome your own formidable obstacles? Something to think about, right? Thanks for joining me on this deep dive today, and keep learning.